Hello, everybody. I'm very proud to introduce this conference to Edmond Becquerel, who discovered the photovoltaic effect. He's part of a famous dynasty of physicists in the 19th century that often occupied the same position uh, and eminence. His father, Antoine, was already a member of the Academy of Science when Edmond Becquerel presented himself the first time to the Academy in 1851. And he was beaten. Uh, it was for the seat of Gay-Lussac, and it was Gagnard de la Tour who had been beaten years before in 1829 by his father, Antoine, who had been elected to the position, to the seat. So it's sort of family story, in fact. But the important fact is that he was chosen ahead of Foucault, who was an eminent figure in research. And in 1863, he was finally elected to the Academy of Sciences. And he was young, he was just in his early 40s. So he had several positions as vice president and then president in 1881. Now, of course, from a scientific perspective, he is well known, even though he's not as well known as his father and his son, Henri. He is well known for having discovered the photovoltaic effect. And at the time, this discovery was not much talked about and wasn't recognized as it has become many years later through the work of Belabre, which made it possible to start to develop an industrial uh, production of photovoltaic cells. And Belabre had found these properties, photovoltaic properties with silicon. Now, what I would like to say about Edmond Becquerel's career is that he was a physicist, but also an experimental scientist. And his contribution was to develop tools and experiments, instruments that made it possible to progress in this area of science. Now, the instruments that he developed were based on an innovation at the time, was new, but was beginning to develop industrially, and that was photography. And it is by using advances made in photography um, and the way that it was practiced at the time that he was able to develop a number of tools of light on materials. At that time, there were major controversies ongoing on the corpuscular or wave nature of light. And his research helped scientists under the nature of light. I think this conference is going to be fascinating. So I'll leave it to your presentations. The personality and the topics that he worked on of prime importance. And it is perfectly legitimate that Edmond Becquerel should be recognized as a major scientific figure of the 19th century. Thank you all and have a wonderful conference.